What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Steelers Breakdown Podcast. Nick Farabaugh here with you guys. And let's talk today about the obvious topic, the obviously big news for the Steelers today. Jaylen Warren is now a Pittsburgh Steeler for the next three seasons, 2025, 2026, 2027. That 2-year extension on top of the second round tender he got this year. It is in total a 3-year deal worth $17.5 million, averaging under $6 million per year. Very cheap deal, but a player that has really been a type of glue player to me and deserves this deal. Um, there are things that can be issues with Jaylen Moore, but let's talk about why he got this deal and why I'm more than okay with this. Um, when we talk about Jaylen Warren, we're talking about a player to me that is absolutely an emotional charged player on this roster. He is kind of the type of player good teams win with. He is a lightning rod in that respect. He has rare traits that you don't see in running back twos and contributor types, even if he's a fringe one. He and Caleb Johnson are going to feed off each other in some respects. They're both hard runners that run behind their pads. They're violent runners, and they're willing to stick their nose in the fan. And I do think that Jaylen Warren is the type of player that the Steelers are happy to have. And one is obviously pass pro. We know how good Jaylen Warren is in pass pro. That's never been a question. This guy, for his size, punches so far above his weight. It's not even funny. Um, he's great at recognizing it. He takes on edge rushers and linebackers and just pelts them. That is something that like really, really stood out when you watched Jaylen Warren's tape. And it's something that has allowed him to carve out the role and it's allowed him to get this extension. He is that guy. You don't find pass protecting backs that are really good at pass pro plus being a really good receiver. Throw the ball in the flat to Jaylen Warren. He will break tackles and create for you. I think that's the big thing is this guy's a creator in a way that a lot of guys out in space like that can't be. He's got great contact balance. He's got great elusiveness. And so you get the ball out to him in space and you just kind of let him go and he can do it. He's a good player in that respect. So receiver up plus upside, you got this great pass pro back. And then as a runner, he's got good vision. He runs hard behind his pads. He's hard to bring down and he's an efficient running back. And so he's got good traits. He's got like really good short area burst. He's kind of built like, a Maurice Jones-Drew, Doug Martin type guy and just bounces off players. And so there are so many pluses to a guy like Jaylen Warren. You're not breaking the bank for him. This is not a deal that's going to strap you on the cap. This is not a deal that's going to just kind of blow up anything. It's nothing. It's just getting a contributor locked up and filling a need. Because Caleb Johnson, let's be real here. People are like, is this, a bad sign for Caleb Johnson? Guys, they love Caleb Johnson. They still think he's a very high level player. But Jaylen Warren's a really good complementary football player. He's a really good complementary back. When you look at this in 2023, when he was really healthy, and the Steelers allowed him to kind of fill in to that zone gap role hybrid, and he was able to just be an efficient back. 5.26 yards per carry, 15% explosive run rate. I mean, he is somebody that fills that void. And he's not been somebody that's been hurt a lot for someone at running back in the NFL. Yes, he missed 2 games last year with a knee issue. Okay, he had a hamstring issue as well in the preseason. He played 17 games in 23, 16 in 22. Health really hasn't been much of a question with Jaylen Warren. He's with someone that doesn't have a ton of tread on his tires. He is an explosive back in a lot of ways. There's a lot of pluses to him. The obvious issues, fumbles in that 2023 season, 4 fumbles last year. two fumbles. Rookie year, one fumble. They would like to see that replicated, that one fumble that he had when he had 149 carries in 23. Those fumbles were a significant issue. So fumbling the football is a no-go. That's the big thing I think you can criticize him for. He's also just not, in my opinion, somebody that you necessarily are going to give a bell cow workload to because of the punishment his body takes in other aspects of his life, of his kind of career. When you look at things like uh, pass pro and just how many hits he takes from that and his touches as a receiver, all of those are much higher volume. So while he's getting maybe 150 rushes, you have to add more cumulative hits to what he's getting there to his frame, even though he's a ton of muscle. There's a lot of hits he's taking. Caleb Johnson built more like a traditional bell cow in that respect. But I think the 1-2 kind of punch is the right way to go about that. Even if you want to do throwing Kenneth Gainwell, you have 1, 2, 3 there in that regard. But this is not a high risk deal at all. The Steelers basically, essentially, this contract is a raise for this year, a slight raise for this year, a 1 year, $7 million extension next year, and then kind of an empty 2027. So if they don't like what they see over the next 1 or 2 seasons, they can very easily move on from Jaylen Warren after 2026. On the other side, they can also very easily extend him, give him more guarantees in that 27 deal if he is still playing at a high level. So I really just like Jaylen Warren's kind of makeup. I think what he brings to the table is really invaluable for a guy that is more of a complementary piece. And this year, he's going to be somebody that I think gradually kind of goes into that role. I think he's going to start this year to be a starter, and then on top of that, he will end up going into more of a kind of complimentary role, but it's going to be like a 1A, 1B type backfield because I think Warren's really good. I truly do think people are underrating Jaylen Warren. I think, they see the preseason game and kind of him breaking it in, and he misses 2 games last year. Jaylen Warren's a really good football player. His 2023 season, I really don't think people understand how good of a tackle breaking season that was. Warren in general has been somebody that has been underutilized in offenses. They haven't given him um, the kind of usage he deserves. They haven't fit him into the right areas. He's one of the best players that you just throw the ball in the flat to and you just let him go. How many third downs has he turned into first downs by just breaking tackles at times over his career? You look at it and you see a ton of those on his tape. So this extension, mild surprise potentially. The right move. This has been something I have said they should do this summer. When John has asked me, "Are there any extensions left?" I said, I don't know, and I'm not, they didn't talk about this until later in training camp. But the thing that I wanted them to do was extend him because he is a perfect complement to Caleb Johnson, and they can feed off 1A, 1B. It's not necessarily Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, but it can be the type of energy that those guys bring off each other. And so Jaylen Warren, I think, is a really good complementary winning piece to a football team. He's a good player. And you extend good players. I feel very similar to this, how I felt like the Deshaun Elliott deal. Again, not a superstar, right? Deshaun Elliott is not Jalen Ramsey in terms of star stats, but he's a glue player. You need these types of players to win Super Bowls, to win playoff games. And so I just think this is another really good kind of win for the Steelers. Good find in the UDFA process for them, and glad to see Jaylen Warren sticking around past this year. All right, folks, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on the notification bell for more. I will be back tomorrow. We will have the live stream going after Mike Tomlin's first Tomlin Tuesday of the year.